what's next, what they can do to help. Well, one of the ladies who called is sitting right here in front of me, Amanda Bacon. I got an email from her and she said, well, I think we can get Ricky Ott to come here.
She is from Cordova, Alaska, and was there during the Exxon Valdez. Already had a marine toxicology degree, but wasn't using it. She was a commercial salmon fisherman, or fisher ma'am, as she calls herself.
Here's the story, okay? There's going to be a lot of bad news and a little bit of good news, and then what we can do, all right? The oil industry lobbied not to have oil declared a hazardous substance because that means that there's a whole lot more regulation.
There were approximately a dozen people in each of the crews. There was absolutely no safety equipment issued to them.
The workers came back and said, BP's saying, we don't need respirators. They're not required.
When you look at the executives, they go out on the oil, they're all wearing respirators. They're not providing those to their workers.
There's a lot of nonprofit organizations that have raised funds and actually bought respirators. So they gave them to the fishermen. The fishermen took the respirators. And the fishermen came back and said, now we're being told if we wear these respirators, we'll get our jobs terminated. Leading me to realize that BP does not want the liability of cameras seeing people with respirators. The whole playing field is tilted, and it's tilted to advantage the wealthy. And that financial stress is the primary cause of dysfunction in individuals, families, and communities. So it makes people act out in ways that they normally wouldn't. So we had spikes in domestic violence and substance abuse and divorces and suicides.
We're physically and mentally exhausted right now.
I've lived, eaten, and slept this oil spill for the past 50 days.
I guess she's about as stressed as I've ever seen her.
I'm tired now, so I'm getting a little more sleep, but it's pretty much it's more than a full-time job. It's like a full-time job and a part-time job. Hardest thing has been to accept that this is going to be a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I have never been an environmentalist until now, but I do look at life differently than I did before.
These are people's lives. There are things that they won't be able to recover from. This is a way of life that so few people know about that we risk losing it without anybody really knowing that it existed. It's times like these, at the end of a long day, where you really start to feel for those people.
I have a friend on the beach who virtually calls me or emails me daily saying my whole way of life, my entire reason for living here is being destroyed, and she needs serious help.
To watch our communities be kind of slowly chipped away, to see people in such distress it's unimaginable.
You have to be 50 or 60 to remember what it was like. Anyone younger than that, this is what they think is normal. It's not. It's a travesty. I mean, I pulled a shrimp net out in front of this house on the boat with my father when I was younger than Stillwell.
We've been waiting for 7 years for him to be able to walk out on our pier and catch fish. And he can't do that. And that is very difficult. And he can't go swimming. And he can't really even wade without me saying, come out of the water, it's dangerous.
People are basically going through the stages of what you do in a crisis. There's anger and sadness, and they need to talk and they want to talk. We want people out there and telling the world what they're seeing, not just, covering it up and letting it go aside. Even from the smallest thing, like a small tar ball that washes up on shore.
The point here is that everybody in the community rolled up their sleeves and dove in, volunteer at some level to help problem solve. We realized the only people that are going to help us are us.
We've had lots of boom parties. Let's say I've had 3 dozen boom parties. And then a lot of individuals have had their own boom parties. This is back to what I was telling you, though, about that feeling of helplessness. There's nothing you can do. And so if you can get a haircut, it empowers you. If you make a boom, you go to bed that night and just feel like you've done something. Psychologically, that's big. Children hear their parents talk about this and they see us fixated on the news. I say this to them all the time. You can save one bird or one fish with your boom, maybe more, and that empowers them. They like helping, they like being part of the solution, and they like not feeling helpless.
And you got yourself a hair boom.
We are in Orange Beach, Alabama. It's the second place to get slimed. It is Perdido Pass. They've just closed off the pass so that the backwaters do not get oil, but some has already gotten in the bay and they fear more coming tomorrow. So we're trying to get this out and keep these beaches safe. This is our answer to how to make Booms Float. It is a shrimp or crawfish bag supplied to us by the shrimp industry in Louisiana. And it has hair booms stuffed in it and noodles on top to float it. And we attach them to a nylon line and attach them butt to butt, and we float them. The best thing is unlike conventional boom, it's going to sit slightly below the surface. And so what will catch the oil is the hair. We want private citizens to come make hair boom. We have the bags available. They can go to any dollar store and get the noodles. We'll teach them how to make it.
They look good, they look like they're gonna float on the water good, and actually they do work. I've seen it work.
The total amount of hours involved for that is probably 5 hours or something. So if you had enough volunteers, you could do this entire Inabay system in a week.
Inaction is a sin. It's just an outright sin.
What we really need is for people around the nation to care about this place like the people who call it home.